Hey guys, Kev here, and I'm ready to do my first impressions on the Paramilitary 2 by Spyderco. So, I got these sent in as loaners from a buddy on Instagram who shall not be named. He is the awesome guy who hooked me up with the Spyderco bombshell. He had a few of these and just so happened he was willing to give one up in a trade. So he sent me this, and I have not sent him anything. So we talked about it, and I didn't have anything he really wanted at the time, and he's not like super worried about it. So he just said, "Hey man, I'll send it to you, and when you think of something that I might like or whatever, let me know, and we can work it out then. Or I might just send him cash, whatever." But that's how I got the bombshell, and I freaking love you, man. That's just so cool that you were willing to just give me that up front like that. So awesome, dude. And he sent me this PM2, which is a standard meted out chaw PM2 in S30V. And then you have Golden, Colorado, USA Earth, and a Spyderco tick. And then I guess you also have a maker's mark for Saul Glesser up top and Eric Glesser down there. So I guess it's a collaboration, family collaboration. And this one here is in G10 scales, black G10 scales, black DLC or PVD coated blade. Very good edge on here. It has the standard PM2. What do you call it? Drop point, I guess. I don't know. You tell me. What is a PM2 blade? It's just weird because it has the hump and everything. But I guess it's a drop point, clip point. No, I don't know. Whatever. PM2 blade, right? Everybody knows what it is. Really cool knife. This one has the Lynch clip on it. I reversed it over to the left side, so it looks a little funky because I think they come either righty or lefty when you order the clip. But I wanted to reverse it so I could carry this a little bit. Obviously, the PM2 has been reviewed to death, right? And I had one briefly. I had a PM2 Ultra lefty version. So if you don't know, blades we love. They're awesome. They make a PM2 Ultra, which is basically this, but it's a button lock. They figured out a way to basically take the compression lock and insert a button through, and then the button pushes the compression lock. So you basically just have a button lock. It's really cool. Ironically, for a right-handed PM2 Ultra, they take a base PM2 lefty. They take a lefty PM2 because of the way the compression lock is. So on a lefty, the compression lock would be reversed, right? So you have to push this way to disengage it. On this one, you have to push this way. You squeeze like this and it drops. On a lefty, you would push out like this. So that way you can put a button through here, and then you have a righty button lock. So for the lefty version of the Ultra, they took this model, the right-handed one, and they put a button through here, and then you have a lefty button lock, right? Anyway, I traded it or sold it because, well, one, at the time, I thought the PM2 was a little too big for me. I wasn't into bigger knives. I thought the Para 3 was a better size for me. And two, I wasn't able to upgrade the scales. Basically, the way Blades We Love works is because they buy so many lefty PM2s for the button locks, they are able to have custom scales made. So you can get micarta, G10, whatever you want, in different colors, whatever, carbon fiber. But for the lefty Ultra, the only thing they can do is these black scales. So I tried my damnedest to pimp it out. I had all titanium hardware, anodized purple, purple anodized clip, purple anodized button. Like, it looked cool, but it still was just black G10 and S30V. And I don't know. I couldn't get behind it, so, I sold it. I think it was like $220, which is not bad to get a, basically custom knife like that. But anyway, that's my experience with the PM2. I had it for about 3 weeks or a month. I carried it maybe 3 times, so very little usage. I know there's a ton of reviews out on this knife, but this is my first real experience with it in its actual form. So I've never had a PM2 in normal form. So I have this one, and he also sent me this Tanto here, which I really dig the Tanto blade on this. It's just so much different. It's awesome. And this has carbon fiber scales on it. Again, here you're going to have Spyderco, CPMS 30V, Golden Colorado, USA Earth, and yep, same maker's marks for Saul and Eric. And then you have the Tanto blade. Interesting. This one's also murdered out, so I guess this guy really likes murdered out knives. Really cool. And then it has these sweet carbon fiber scales. They look amazing, right? And it has a Lynch deep carry clip, and it's only tapped for right-hand carry on this one. And this guy is actually a lefty, but I guess like most people, he's learned to carry righty, which is so sad. I haven't gotten there yet, guys, but I carry a lot of right-handed knives, but I still carry lefty, you know what I mean? Anyway, this one just seems a little off when you hear it drop. It just sounds like something in there is loose. I don't know. Centering is pretty jacked up on this guy. On this one, it is good. And again, this is a stock one. You just put the clip on it. This one's been modded a bit, so with the scales and, once you start messing with the scales and the lanyard tube, it can become a real pain real fast. I've modded a pair of three, and yeah, so you got to be ready for anything when you mod one of these. But so that's really the 2 knives that we have here. Yeah, it just feels loose. It's really weird. But I don't actually feel anything loose, but it just sounds like it. I don't know. Anyway, in terms of aesthetics, I really do love the look of the Paramilitary 2, the PM2. It has grown on me over the years. This has always been the knife, the benchmark knife that people have talked about, like the best EDC knife that you can get. Especially when I first started. This was expensive, $140 or whatever these are now, $150. That was expensive when I first started getting into knives. I wasn't just buying knives that expensive willy-nilly like I do now, right? And, yeah, a lot of people are going to say the Sabenza, but I'm not a CRK guy, and that's $400 and whatever dollars. We're not talking about that right now. We're talking about everyday working man EDC type knife. This is pretty much high end in terms of that, right? If you work in a warehouse or you work construction or whatever, dishing out $150 for a knife is probably, tops. That's what you're gonna get, your one work knife until you beat it to the ground, and then you're gonna get another one. If we're talking about collectors like us, that's different, right? Or me, whatever. So, yeah. But anyway, I really do love the aesthetics of this knife. It looks really cool. Love the blade shape. I really like this murdered out one. I like the long handle ergonomically. Oh, man. Spyderco is really good at ergonomics. It has the choil up here so you can choke up and do detail work. This is one of the few knives that has a choil that I can hold back here and I'll feel comfortable because I get a whole grip. I get a full grip on it. And I can put my thumb right here on the ramp, and I can actually use this knife back here. Usually if a knife has a choil, I go right to the choil, and this is how I'll always hold the knife. So PM2 is cool in that way. Action. So Spyderco, in Spyderco fashion, it has a pretty, weakish detent, but this one's pretty good. This one I can flick out without too much effort. It's very smooth. You can Spidey flick it, which obviously this knife basically made famous. Very good, very fidgety with the compression lock. You'll see how I'm disengaging that, and I'll get to that in a second. This is the Tanto here, also fidgety. It flies out pretty well. This blade is a little heavier, but you don't really notice it when you're flipping it out or anything. You notice it when you disengage and it drops. It's a lot heavier. It's a lot more drop shutty in that case, you know. You can also slow roll these knives out. You know, you have the Spidey flick we talked about. Everybody knows you can do the 5-finger challenge that I can't do, but it's a thing. So basically, in my eyes, this knife right here invented knife fidgeting. This is the knife that came to market and kind of brought fidgeting with it. You know, you could Spidey flick and do all the good stuff. And it was kind of like the beginning of not just having a knife for work. Like, you can sit there and play with this as a toy too. And then when you need it to cut something, it can. So the Paramilitary 2 is a freaking legend in that sense, you know. I see this knife as a legend. This is just a classic knife that brought in a lot of stuff after it. Spyderco should be really proud of what they did here. That's not to say they haven't, you know, modernized a little bit at this point. You know, we're still working with, you know, S30V and, you know, all that stuff. You know, these huge lanyard holes and the crappy clips. You know, they could really upgrade that. But when this knife came out, I would say it was ahead of its time and a really, really, really cool offering at the time. Now, I alluded to this earlier. Disengaging the compression lock as a lefty is just a super pain in the ass. You know, you have to pinch the knife. Like, I basically will lay the knife on my hand so I can't drop it. I still do it sometimes. And then I'll pinch the lock, right? I'll pinch right here, rotate it back up, and then let it drop. And then I kind of have to do a readjustment real fast. A lot of times I just do that. I just chuck it into my hand, which, again, you can see me dropping that, right? I've done it plenty of times, especially if I've had a couple beers, you know. But yeah, so it's just not, it just sucks, really. It sucks. I used to just deal with it, but now I'm at the point where I've had so many knives. I have so many good knives. I'm not going to deal with this shit. Like, I'm just not going to buy this knife. That's plain and simple. And yep, you're going to tell me there's a PM2 lefty. Yep, there is. But I can't get custom scales. I can't mod my knife. Like, I can't do anything cool. I can't get cool sprint runs. If I get a lefty PM2, or yeah, PM2, I'm stuck. I'm stuck with S30V, guys. You can get, well, these are both S30, but you can get M4. You can get M390. You can get 20CV. You can get Maximate. You can get K390. You can get, whatever. I don't know if there's an LC200N one yet. Hopefully a Van X one coming. PM2 OG. You know, you can get really cool steels. I can't. I just get a lefty PM2 with black scales and a satin blade. That's all I get. So, no, thank you. I'm not going to do that. If I was just going to use it to work and that was my work knife, yeah, for sure. I'd get the lefty one and I'd call it a day. But that's not what I'm doing. So if that's you and you're left-handed watching this, looking for a recommendation to get the lefty PM2, yeah, do it. Unless you need super steel, like super steel. I don't even know if S30V is super anymore. But, you know, so I'll take all that with a grain of salt. But, yeah, the action just kills it on this knife for me completely. I just drop them all the time. You know, try walking your dog at night with this thing in your pocket and you want to fidget a little bit and you're sitting there doing this, like walking on the street. And what if it's wintertime, you got your gloves on, you're trying to like, it just doesn't work, guys. I've dropped so many Spydercos with compression locks over the years that I just gave up. I stopped owning compression lock knives. I basically stopped owning Spydercos until I got that Bombshell and the Chaparral recently. So, I talked about ergos, talked about the blade. I talked about carry. Carry's really good if you put a new clip on it. If you go with the original kind of spoon clip it comes with, it's okay, but it, it's not deep. It's just, I don't know. It's not great. You have to get an aftermarket clip when you get a PM2 or a Para 3. Those are the rules. Them rules, guys. Yeah. So carry, whatever. Cutting, really good. It's a PM2, guys. I mean, I don't need to go on this long about PM2s, but cutting is really good. And then if we talk about value, again, these are first impressions, so I'll hit you with a review probably. $150 for a base model. It's a little high for G10 and S30V, guys. Compression lock with a spoon clip, because you're going to put at least $25 into the clip. You're probably going to put another $50 to $100 into scales and other stuff, and you end up with a $250, $300 PM2. Does that sound about right? And then you go on Knife Swap a year later to sell it, and you can only get $150 for it. So, I don't think the value's there. If these knives were like $115, it would be fantastic, but they're not. So, there's that. All right, so that's it, guys. Those are my initial thoughts on the PM2 here and the PM2 Tanto. Obviously, the right-handed versions. And I really appreciate you for sending these. You know who you are. I really do love the design, the look, the feel. I like a lot of things about the PM2, guys. There's just some crucial things like the clip and the compression lock that I can't really deal with. So we'll see if anything changes over the next week or so as I carry these a little bit. But I don't see that happening. But I'm open to anything. So I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I will catch you later.